إن الحمد لله أستغفر الله العظيم استغفر الله. You ready? إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Alhamdulillah, today we are in our lesson of Tajweed. We are finished with Ahkam al-Nun al-Sakina Ahkam al-Nun al-Sakina wa Tanween. Alhamdulillah, there are 4 rules. I have some questions. Everybody should know, it's not the questions, it's a point. Everybody should know at this stage the 4 rules, Ahkam al-Tajweed, Ahkam al-Nun al-Sakina wa Tanween. Okay, everybody should know. So I'm going to ask, what's the first rule of Nun al-Sakina and Tanween? Idhar. What is Idhar? You can say it in English, you can say it in Arabic. What is Idhar practically?
Something makes clear.
Something made clear, but not something. I want something a little bit more clearer.
To pronounce a letter clearly to give it its right.
Which letter? Nun or Tanween. So it's to make the N sound or the Un sound or the In sound, whether it comes as a Nun al-Sakina or as a Tanween. Take your hand off your mouth, young man, and sit up. Only old men can do that, and you're not an old man. Okay? We'll come close. From the deen is to sit close to the teacher, inshallah ta'ala. I think, hold on, did you want them to sit close? Okay, cool. And don't put your fingers together. So, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And the dalil of that is the statement in the second hadith, the hadith of Jibril, when Jibril came close to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and he sat close to him and he put his hands on his hands. Ulama used that to say that this is from the deen, to get close to the teacher who's teaching you and get as close as you can so you can get it from him, inshallah ta'ala. But anyway, so the first rule is to make that noon sound very clear. What's the second rule? Idgham. What does idgham mean? Dakhala shay'un fi shay. Period, point blank. That's how you got to know it. Okay? What does it mean, dakhala shay'un fi shay? Something entered into something else. As a practical rule, it's to enter a sound onto that noon. It's for that noon to enter onto the next letter and to disappear. Right? Min ladun. Right? Min as opposed to min ladun. Man ya'mal. As opposed to man ya'mal, right? So that the noon disappears. It dakhala shay, it enters into another letter. Okay? The next one is what? What's the next rule? Third rule. What's that? Iqlab. What is iqlab? Hesitation kills. What is this thing in your chest? Your qalb, your heart. It beats. It flips blood from the left ventricle into the right ventricle, aorta, I should say, right? It's going next to right. In the same way, iqlab, it flips that noon and turns it into a meme. Anbiya, right? That noon, min ba'di, right? The noon is second and now gets flipped into a meme. The rule that we have to remember here is what? Don't close your lips. Don't put your lips, you close it so close that it's a little sliver, but it's not touching all of it until the last second when you make the ba sound. Min ba'di. Say that.
Min ba'di.
Right? You see that? Anbiya. No, don't say because if you close your lips, you made idgham. Right? Because now you made the noon disappear completely. We want to hear it for a little bit, and then we tulid. Then you give birth to the ba. Okay? Anbiya. So it's an anbiya. Okay? Going that way. The next rule is what? I'm sorry, we go back to idgham. I missed up a point of clarification. How many types of idgham is there? 2 types of idgham. Right? Idgham bi gunna and idgham without bi ghayri gunna. So complete idgham is without any gunna, because gunna is a sifat, a characteristic of the letter noon, right? Which we're going to get into today. We talked about the sifat. When you studied Arabic, your first lessons in Arabic was master letters, right? And in those lessons, if you memorized and paid attention, you were taught the sifat for every letter. That's going to become increasingly more important as we recite Quran. You notice when we get to Tajweed, we'll talk about, but you know, when you're reciting, sometimes you run out of air because you ran into a letter that had shidda, which is a sifat of quwwah, which is a description that has strength, right? And you didn't have enough strength to pronounce it. So you have to become recognizing which letters need what characteristics or meet these certain characteristics so you can be ready and prepared to give them their rights. Okay? And that's how you bring one science into the other one. Okay? Now, that being said, we go on to we will finish qalb. What comes after iqlab? Ikhfa. Everybody say that because I didn't hear anybody say it. Ikhfa. What is ikhfa?
It's conceal and cover.
It's cover and concealment. That's right. How is it done? It's a practical.
To fade the sound in.
Right. You fade it in because it is a nutqun a noon. It is to pronounce the noon bayna idhar wa idgham. So it's good that we put it last, right? Because it's to pronounce the noon sound between idhar, which is an, and idgham, which is ayn. It's gone completely. So between that is ikhfa. So I tell you that you are fading it in. Okay? You're fading that noon sound into that whatever letter. What are the letters of ikhfa?
It's 15 letters.
15 letters. How can I remember 15 letters? صف ذا ثنا كم جاد شخص قد سما ضم طيبا زد في تقى دع ظالما. So whenever you run into a word that has that, you recognize. You begin to recognize how to pronounce that sound. Okay? Min ta'wil. Min ta'wil. You see that? Ta. Zid fi tuqa. The ta is there. Right? So you see that? Min ta'wil. Instead of saying min, and without saying mit. So the noon is there, but it's not all the way. So I fade into min ta'wili. Say that. You have to make it sound clearer. Because remember this, the listener should hear every letter. Should be able to identify. If he or she knows the rules, he'll hear them as you're reciting. And he'll be able to notice the mistakes. Okay? They'll be able to notice them because you're listening now. And you know what you're listening for. And as I stated, the majority of the rules are almost all done. Okay? So that's our review. And now we're getting into this. If you haven't memorized these rules up to this point, it's going to become increasingly more difficult. Like I said, this is a detailed science. It's not difficult. You just have to pay attention to details and go one step at a time. You can't jump up 5 flights of steps. But if you walk, you don't even realize how many steps you've taken. Taking one step at a time. That's how you do it. How many steps did it take you to get in this room? You can't tell, can you? You probably took anywhere from 15 to 30 steps. But because you took little steps, or because you took one step at a time, you couldn't jump across this room in 2 steps or 3 steps or 5 steps. You know? So if you take it piece by piece, don't worry about where somebody else is. Don't worry about how silly you may sound right now. As an adult, you'll get over it. And you'll catch up. You'll catch up. Insha'Allah ta'ala. Okay, so now we're on the next rule. The next rule is the hukm al-mim wa noon al-mushaddada. Okay, that's the next rule right here is the hukm of the mim and the noon mushaddadatain. And it says, I'm going to write it down for you. What that means is ahkam al-noon wal mim mushaddadatain. It says the rules and regulations surrounding the noon and the mim when they carry a shidda or a shadda. That's what we're doing here. And it's one simple rule, so it shouldn't take us much time to do it today. Ahkam, say it. An-noon wal-mim al-mushaddadatain. Al-mushaddadatain, not dadatain. Al-mushaddadatain. Okay? Okay, so here is the noon. We have the noon. And we have the meme when it has a shadda on it. Okay? This is what we're talking about. Everybody see that? Is that too small? Do I have to make that bigger? Okay, so in my notes I have the noon and meme mushaddata or mushaddada is the noon and meme that comes with a shadda. A shadda is represented by a little W. That's what we're going to call it. They call it a little W. But actually, this sign right here, what does that come from? This goes back to your Tajweed class, which we're going to redo tonight. What does this mean?
This lam lam. Allah.
No, this is not the lam lam. What this is a sheen. This is a sheen that has the three dots taken away and the tail cut off. So the only thing, Khali Balik here, don't write, we'll look first. So the only thing left is this shape. Now, why did they take a letter sheen and make it the sign for shadda? Because the sheen here represents the word shadda. Okay? And so that's why they took this away and left that right there, and then they wiped that off because it's difficult to write when you're writing. So they just left that part right there. Okay? Why am I telling you this? What's the importance of this? Why am I telling you? These are the details. Attention to details. Knowledge, al-ilmu bit-ta'allum. You may hear this before. Knowledge, people don't know how to translate. They say knowledge is by studying. That's because you don't understand Arabic. Al-ilmu bit-ta'allum, like al-hilmu bit-tahallum, wal-kalamu bit-takallum. Okay? Knowledge is likened to getting better and being nice and generous because you have to do it. You have to. Okay? And then how do you do it? Takallum. The scale takallum is a thing that you have to do little by little. What does takallum mean? Does anybody know? To speak. Don't be scared. No, say it out loud. Be wrong here. Okay? This is where you make your mistakes. So takallum means to speak. Now how do we liken that to learning? When you speak, what are you pronouncing?
Words, letters.
Letters. The smallest of it is letters. So small pronunciations of letters put together with other letters make words. Words make sentences. Sentences make fiqarat, which is paragraphs and whole lengthy conversations. So kalam, speech, is but takallum, by learning, speaking these little words, these little sounds until you have whole sentences. And al-ilm bit-ta'allum is by learning little issues. One small issue at the time. Just like we were talking about walking. It's not learning a whole big mas'ala. You know, you learn all this stuff and what? No, it don't happen that way. You can't understand that big issue until when you see the scholars go through it, they start with one little issue and this is why we do this and this is why we do that. And you can't follow. You're like, well, why did they go there? Because you didn't learn the fundamentals. You didn't learn the small issues. Or if you did, then you say, oh, I see right away why that's an issue and why that's an issue because of this fundamental, that fundamental, this little issue. You understand that? So knowledge is not just acquired by studying, it's by studying small issues at a time. Following and paying attention to what? The details. What are details? Small things. Like, why is this a little W? Why is this scene or this sheen there? And what does it mean? And it's a sign to let you know shadda means to put more to it. So it's as if you put two noons there. So why didn't they write two noons there? One sukoon and one with the fatha. Why didn't they do that? Go back to the first principle you learned in Arabic. The Arabs love what? The Arabs love what? The Arabs love abbreviation. You see how you tie this stuff together? There is no schizophrenia in Arabic or in Islam, I should say. Each piece follows the next piece. If you're thinking, you can find it. Okay? So because the Arabs love abbreviation, they're not going to write like this. A noon. Here is like this. Say a noon, okay? They're not going to do that. They're going to say, well, it's easier, just go like this, man. And we put a shadda over it, and we be done. But what we're saying is an-noon. And that's important when you get to Tajweed and you start counting, and you have to give this 2 counts. Well, I'm giving this 2 counts, because there's 2 noons there. You understand the point? Okay. Now, having said that, let's erase this. Please help me out. So we're talking about ahkam al-nun wa mim mushaddatayn, right? Mushaddatayn. Mushaddadatain. Man, my tongue twisters, right? The mim and the noon when they have a shadda over it. Everybody following the class? Okay. With regards to the rules surrounding the mim and the noon, at first it says, a shadda is represented by the little w or the sheen over a letter. A letter with shadda over it is called mushaddada. A mushaddada letter is really two letters. Do I have to explain that again? Does everybody follow that? The first letter is sakin and the second letter is mutaharrik. Mutaharrik means to move. Okay? These deviant groups are called harakat because they follow they're always busy. They're called busybody. They're always into something that ain't right. Okay? So, mutaharrik means something that moves. What are the three things that move? What are the three sounds that move in Arabic? Come on, give me three sounds that are called mutaharrik. They are a, I, u. Say that. So that's a fatha, dhamma, kasra. And it's called mutaharrik because it makes the letter move. It brings a vowel to the sound. Otherwise, vowel to the pronunciation. Okay? So just in case, we're going to do that again. So one noon is here, another noon is here. This one is sakin, and the other one is mutaharrik with one of these things. Okay? But since the Arabs don't start on abbreviation, on a sukoon, we would say anni, anna, annu. Okay? That's how you would do this type of thing right here. That's what it means when we have a shadda. And instead of doing that, we do this. Okay? Instead of doing this, we do this. Is that clear? No. No questions. Okay. So, and the reason why we ask all the time, is that clear? Do you understand? Because knowledge, the word ilm, it means to know something. Knowing something is not known until it is clear. Wadih. If there is some ishkal, if there's some doubt, some question, then you don't know it. Do you understand that? So that's why I say to you all the time, do you understand that? Because it has to be clear. Clarifying something is teaching and knowing something. Wadih? See that? Wadih, mesh? Okay. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. With regards to the rules surrounding the meme and the noon, when they come mushaddad, then the author said, وَغُنَّ مِيمًا ثُمَّ نُونٍ شُدِّدَ. The author said, وَغُنَّ مِيمًا ثُمَّ نُونًا شُدِّدَ. What did I say? I taught earlier that if the kesra comes under the sheen, the shadda, the sign of shadda, then that means e. Even though we can put it under here, it's quicker because when you write a word, let me do another point, teaching, reading here. When you write a word, you write the shape of the word. Then you go back. You don't go to the next word yet. You go back to that word, and you start at the beginning of the word. You may see me do it backwards sometimes. That is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. Because that's when people make silly mistakes. Okay? You're supposed to go back to the beginning of the word and say it. Shu, okay? Di. Oh, see, I did it wrong. So then I would correct that right there and say da. Okay? So if you do it backwards, you might miss something. And now you got to erase a whole bunch of stuff. So that's how you go. And then you go to the next word. You write the shape, go back, put the vowels on it. And the student begins his lessons by putting the vowels on all his work until he gets to the level where he's doing it so fast he can't do it anymore. Okay? So that's his tazkiyah. That's his permission to stop doing it. When you learn nahw wa sarf, then you don't have to do it anymore. But until you learn nahw wa sarf, and your teacher knows and you know that you know it, put the tanween and all the harakat there. Okay? Be experts. That's being meticulous. Going right along. وَغُنَّ مِيمًا ثُمَّ نُونٍ شُدِّدَ وَسَمِّ وَسَمِّ كُلًّا حرف غنة بدا. Let me erase this small piece over here so as not to cause any confusion. وَغُنَّ نُونٍ ثُمَّ مِيمٍ شُدِّدَا وَسَمِّ كُلٍّ حَرْفَ غُنَّةٍ بَدَا. Can I erase this piece right here? Okay, thank you. This is a simple rule right here. Okay? I'll explain it. وَغُنَّ مِيمًا ثُمَّ نُونًا شُدِّدًا. And ghunna is going to be in the meme, then the noon, shuddida, when they have a shidda on them. That's the only rule we have for this whole section. Wasammi, and name, ism. You see that? And this is proof that the hamza that you see in ism is not part of the word ism. It's only added there so that the Arabs don't start on a sukoon. So they put that there, hamzatul waslin, to join it. Wasammi kullan, to semi both of them, harfa, a letter of ghunna, bada. It's going to be clear. You can see that. Okay? A Bedouin is called Bedu because you see him when he's walking way down there. You can see him on the horizon. Okay? I used to say, why people say the desert is empty? Empty. This place is crowded. You see people all over the place walking around. You say, where are you going from? So, Bedu, because you can see him on the horizon. Bada alik. Oh, ara. Okay? So this will be clear, and you'll see the ghunna, the sign of the shidda over the letters when they have shuddida, and that'll let you know that it has ghunna in it. Okay? Clearer, more. More ghunna because it's what? Doubled. You understand that? And I translate this as, put ghunna in a meme and a noon when they are mushaddad, and call both of them letters of ghunna. Okay? That is that. Let me see what else we put here. We just broke the words down, and we're going to give you some examples. Examples could include, very easy, amma yatasa'ilun. Okay, but here we're focusing on amma. Put your lips together. Amma. Right? That's that ghunna. Okay? And then the other one was thumma. Thumma kalla saya'lamun. But we just put thumma because it's enough to do that. Okay? And the next one would be inna lil muttaqina. Inna lil muttaqina. You see, I did that wrong? I'm going to go correct it. Okay? Inna lil muttaqina mafaza. But don't worry about that. Inna. That tongue goes up. The tongue goes up. We went over this. When you learned Arabic, when you learned master letters, what it says, the tongue is up and to the front, the ghunna in the nose, right? When you went over noon. That's important. Say inna. Do you hear it now? The tongue is up. This part here. Not the tip, this part of that tip, okay? That goes up. It's to the front, not touching the teeth. Right behind the teeth. A little bit up above where the teeth and the gums meet. Inna. But it's in the curve. The curve of that mouth. Unless you got a deformed mouth or something, Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. I'm teasing you guys. Say inna. Amma. Amma. The meme is the type of sound that you cannot pronounce it clearly without pressing your lips together. Amma. Now, don't do it so hard, because if you do it too hard, you won't get a sound. But it has to be pressed mutawassitan. Amma. So that it can vibrate. The sound is vibrating on that. Okay, and now ghunna is catching it, and that's where that sound is emitting and going all around. Okay, so now we use the skills that we got in this class. Okay, since we finished master letters, it's behind us. You're called on to know that. So I would review that. Amma, thumma, inna. I say, so we have another one. Min al jinnati wan nas. Min al jinnati wan nas. Minal jinnati والناس من الجنة والناس. You hear the noon? عم من الجنة والناس إن ثم no ma. There's no ma. Did we go over? I can't remember. Maybe we did in the earliest lessons when we first started this. Mim fatah ma, alif fatah a. Did we go over that? Yes or no? If you went over that drill, that's part of your what do you call it? Indoctrination. When the guy's out on his feet and the coach in the corner says, wait, tell to him, Makeem, up, his hands up. He's out, but he goes back to his initial indoctrination. Just to put his hands up and to be like this so he don't die. You should have been gone over saying, alif fatah a, ba fatah ba, ta fatah ta, tha fatah tha, mim fatah ma. In the way so that I can hear it, we can hear it, and your teacher can hear it. So there's no ma. There's no ba. There's no mispronunciations. There's no ta when it's ta. There's no sa when it's sa. You understand that drill? That's your indoctrination. Hands up. Ooh. Okay? So, if you make a mistake, what are we going to do? You say, what is that word that you said? Amma. You know what's happening? From the isti'la, from the sifat, isti'la of the ayn, you're bleeding it onto the meme, which has fat. You know what I'm talking about? You should know what I'm talking about if you did master letters. What is fat? To open your mouth up like what? Like a doorway. And the letters of isti'la like sad, right? Like ta. These letters, they have that difficult sound that's not so clear in English, how to say it. Right? So we say amma. And we pay attention not to say amma. Okay? That's lazy. We don't accept that. You know the difference between saying, well, it's not important. I don't want to mix up the lesson. Okay. Everybody got that? Is that easy? No? Everybody got quiet when I said, is that easy? Everybody said, I ain't saying, don't call on me. No. It's easy. Amma. Mim fatah ma. Noon fatah na. Jinna. Inna. Thumma. No summa. That's what we said. Tha, fatah tha. It's a what? Teeth and what? Teeth and tongue. Remember the rules. If your tongue ain't sticking out your teeth, you ain't say it right. You say samma or summa, that's your tongue is behind your two buck teeth, hitting on the middle piece. But if you stick your tongue out, thumma, say it. Thumma. Don't be lazy. Don't be shy. Stick it out. Thumma. You'll get used to it. Just like you get used to doing the wrong thing, you get used to doing the right thing. Thumma. Hadith. Right, and then you hear it. You hear it. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. انتهى. We're finished with that lesson.